It's Wednesday night of week 1, everybody. So you know what that means. It's game preview night on Rambling About Washington. Let's get right to it.
This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? Y'all know who it is. It's your guy Rio Robinson, back with the latest and greatest, where we talk about the Washington Commanders. Week 1 on the road. We start our season off at Tampa Bay at Raymond James Stadium. I'm not going to hold you for too much longer. Representing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I got my guy James, who runs a channel called Mr. Bucks Nation. He is about to hit 20K subscribers on YouTube. Welcome him to the show, y'all. How you doing tonight, boss?
I'm good, Rio. Thank you so much for having me on, man. Greatly appreciated.
Oh, yeah, no problem, man. I see you doing your thing over there, representing the pewter. What is the vibes and what's the atmosphere like for Tampa Bay Bucks Nation right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty good. I mean, I think every fan base is excited to obviously be back in football, right? You know, it was a long off season, long preseason, everything along those lines. However, I think everybody's excited. The vibe generally around the Bucks has been, I would say a lot of doubt. The Bucks did have a really good offseason in terms of bringing back a lot of their own talent, but also just in terms of losing a couple of guys on that defensive side of the ball as well. There's been a lot of doubt starting to creep in for the Bucks, especially with some of the additions the Falcons have made as well. A lot of people are speculating, can the Bucks win the division again? Can they make the playoffs again? And I think the Bucks have been embracing that. I think the fan base has been embracing that in terms of embracing the doubt and seeing if they can do it yet again this year.
Okay, so let me get this clear. Y'all were 9-8 last year. You won your division. You beat a good Philadelphia team. You beat the brakes off of them in the playoffs, actually. And you go toe-to-toe and lose a one-possession game at Ford Field where if 3 to 5 plays and a couple flags go differently, y'all are in the NFC Championship last year. Why the hell is no one talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2024?
I think it's one of the bigger reasons is because a lot of people are wondering about consistency. Can the Bucks stay consistent this upcoming season? And look, a couple of losses did happen. Like, yes, you did bring back Mayfield, Evans, Levante David, Antoine Winfield Jr., but you also lost Devin White to the Philadelphia Eagles. You traded away Carlton Davis to the Detroit Lions. You lost Shaq Barrett or released Shaq Barrett, and he eventually ended up retiring. So there's a lot of young players that need to step up in those types of situations. But I would also say one of the bigger reasons is that Dave Canales, the offensive coordinator, that, a lot of people tabbed as being the main reason, if not the sole reason in some people's minds, to the success of Baker Mayfield last year is gone. He's now the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. And a lot of people just feel like the Bucs are going to take a big step back after a big change to their offensive coordinator. Ultimately, we will have to wait and see if that does happen, though.
Okay, so Dave Canales was a little bit of a quarterback whisperer. Baker is such an interesting story because he was right around the corner from taking that career journeyman backup type role with pit stops in Carolina, a short stint in LA. How was your confidence level compared to right now when you guys signed Baker Mayfield initially to be your starter and to be the successor to Tom Brady, the GOAT?
Yeah, so I've always been a pretty big Baker guy. I feel like he was dealt a pretty bad hand with the Cleveland Browns. How that situation ended, I know a lot of people thought that it was on Baker being maybe not a team player, whatever the situation may have been. But ultimately, the Browns did give up on Baker. That's just the matter of the situation. He didn't have a great go around with the Carolina Panthers after that either. That was a team that was still very much trying to find itself and really didn't have anything going their way. They were still in the Matt Rule era at that point. And then he did find a little bit of a landing there with the LA Rams, which, fun fact, the current offensive coordinator with the Bucks, Liam Cohen, was the offensive coordinator with the Rams whenever Baker Mayfield was there. So they do have a history together. They do have some form of continuity that helps out, I think, a good bit going into this upcoming season. But when they first initially signed Baker after that time with the Rams, I thought, okay, well, let's see what happens. I would imagine I thought he was going to be the favorite to be the starter over Kyle Trask, but ultimately you never know what could happen. And, since he won that starting job, I think not just me as a content creator, but a lot of Bucs fans have really bought into Baker. There are still a lot of people who are maybe not as in love with the idea of Baker being the $100 million, potential franchise quarterback of this team. That's kind of been Baker Mayfield's vibe throughout his entire career. Is divisive, I think, is a good word to describe him. And it is what it is. Ultimately, you're not going to have everybody love a guy like Baker Mayfield at the end of the day. But I, for one, was very impressed with what he did last year. I don't necessarily see him taking a big step back, if even a step back at all this upcoming season, due to the offensive scheme that's going to be implemented here with Liam Cohen, due to their continuity together back at their time with the LA Rams. And also, I think Baker's just in a more secure place than he was.
Oh, yeah.
During the end of his tenure with the Cleveland Browns and during his time with the Carolina Panthers. This is an organization that is fully bought in to and embraced Baker Mayfield as their quarterback here going forward for the next couple of seasons. And I think that that's something that can help out tremendously for a quarterback, especially a guy like Baker, who's a bit more of a bigger personality than most.
Yep. Scheme fit, situation, and relationships are things people discount a lot when it comes to quarterback success in this league. We throw the bus label on guys and we don't factor in what the ecosystem around them is like. Like when you go to a place where you have familiar faces, a scheme you're used to, and you actually have structure around you. Carolina didn't have much to offer Baker. I look at your offense over there. 2,000-yard receivers. People can say what they want about Mike Evans creeping to 1,000 every year. He manages to get to 1,000 every year. Chris Godwin, it got to 1,000 3 years in a row. I'm looking at Rashad White, my quarterback's former college teammate at Arizona State. People don't realize that he had like 1,500 yards or all-purpose yards last year through the ground and through the air. Y'all have a solid tight end in Cade Otton. You paid Tristan Wirfs the bag. What is the ceiling for the Tampa Bay offense in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a good ceiling is something very similar to what you saw last year in terms of being an offense that can generate a couple 1,000-yard receivers, maybe a running back that can get 1,000 yards. And Rashad White, he almost had that last year. And really an offense that can take you to a divisional round of a playoff game, almost to an NFC championship game. I think that that is a reasonable ceiling for this Bucs team if things do go right, all things considered. Now, there are still a couple of question marks that things, especially on the defensive side of things, which I'm sure we'll dive into. But overall, like the offense is still, I would say, in terms of star power, more of the strength of this Bucs team going forward into this upcoming season. And like you said, a lot of good pieces surrounding Baker Mayfield, which again adds the idea of him maybe not even having a big step back after Dave Canales went to Carolina.
Oh, yeah. So I see you guys have a loaded wide receiver room because even outside of your two main guys, I'm looking at the rookie Jalen McMillan out of Washington. Is Trey Palmer healthy right now? We're going to talk about the injury report in just a second. But Washington's defense versus Tampa Bay's offense. As far as you know, do you realize how much new Washington has coming out on the field against you guys on Sunday?
Yeah, it was funny. I was actually talking about this on a show that I do called Roundtable Sports. And we were talking about the Washington Commanders lineup and all the different types of things that they have brought in terms of new pieces. And Dan Quinn, being a defensive-minded head coach, has brought in a lot of new pieces. You have Dorrance Armstrong on the defensive end, somebody who I wanted to possibly be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. He's now part of Washington. He's a very good pass rusher in his own right. I still think the interior defensive line of Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen, you would argue, is the best interior defensive line duo,
at least on paper,
possibly in the entire NFL. Those two are very good. You have Dante Fowler in that mix now. You brought in Frankie Louvu, a very good pass rusher from the Carolina Panthers. You have Bobby Wagner in that mix now as well. So this is a very strong-looking front seven, I think, all things considered in terms of overall pass rush. I like Payne. I like Allen. I like Armstrong. Fowler's shown some good abilities of pass rusher, and so is Frankie Louvu as well. So there's a lot on the pass rush side for the Commanders that I think is going to be very interesting in that front seven as well. You also have Clelin Ferrell, who's trying to kind of rebound on his career from a poor time there with the Raiders. So you have a lot of interesting pieces there. for Washington that I think is going to be an interesting, tough matchup for the Bucs. You know, they've added some new pieces on their interior offensive line. Ben Bredesen, a new starting guard. He started every single game last year for the New York Giants, a team you're very familiar with.
Absolutely.
You also have Graham Barton, who was brought in, a great prospect coming out of Duke. One of my favorite picks the Bucs have made in a good long while. I think that he could be a big benefit. And then on the right guard side, you have Cody Mott going into year number 2. So a lot of younger guys, or guys that, you know, quite frankly, just don't have a lot of starting experience, especially in the form of Barton and Mock on that interior offensive line. So it's going to be a pretty tough matchup for the Bucs interior whenever you do have guys like Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, and Dorrance Armstrong all doing some work there.
Absolutely. And that's not to mention possibly one of the more talented guys in the room. We haven't even got to look at him yet. Second round pick, Jerzon Johnny Newton, a guy who should have been a first round pick in the draft coming out of Illinois. He's going to be the 3-man rotation with Jonathan Allen and Payne on the inside. We got rotating guys, but our starting guys, like you mentioned, Cleveland Farrell and Dorrance Armstrong off the edge. Cleveland Farrell rebounded his career a little bit in San Francisco. He kept Chase Young off the field in San Francisco last year. Bobby Wagner and Louvu in the middle of the field. We haven't had linebackers in like a decade. So that is like night and day difference from before. We got Jeremy Chin here from Carolina coming in on a 1-year deal at strong safety. 2nd-year safety, Quan Martin out of Illinois last year. It is new starters all around the board. I believe we have 13 new starters this year, and we have 4 rookies starting week 1 for us. We got our nickel corner, Mikey Sainristil, still one of the pound-for-pound best players in the class this year. He's going to be a problem on the inside. He's going to be a captain of this defense one day. And we got 3 guys on the offensive side of the ball, which we'll get to in a second. I think Washington, in a way, we get to take advantage of the element of surprise. Like, there's tape out, even though like there's tape out on what you guys are. Like, we don't know if we're going to gel immediately, but you don't really have an idea of what you're going into week 1 and how messy, how close do you think this game's going to be from your offense versus my defense standpoint?
Yeah, I think in regards to that, it could be a very close game. Like I said, I think Washington has a very good front 7. I did like the addition of Jeremy Chin from the Carolina Panthers. I think that was a very good addition that they had made. I think one of the biggest matchups in this game is going to be the Bucs wide receivers versus Washington secondary. You know, they're still trying to put some pieces together there on the secondary side of things for Washington, trying to figure out some roles for some guys. Like you said, they had drafted a cornerback or 2 recently as well. And I think that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, if they do have time, that could be a pretty tricky matchup there for the Commanders. Also, you got to think about, you mentioned Trey Palmer, but Jalen McMillan's another guy in that mix. A wide receiver that was drafted out of Washington, has looked very good for the Bucs in terms of training camp, in terms of preseason and whatnot. So that's where I think you could have a really decisive matchup there, is if the Bucs do have enough time to get the ball out and the offensive line is able to hold against a strong Washington front 7. At that point, can the secondary of the Commanders hold up to what the Bucs have in terms of their wide receiver room? That's going to be one of the bigger deciding factors to this game, I believe.
Our cornerback room is the biggest question mark on this team. I feel very comfortable and confident in the rookie's ability to hold it down on the inside because he is lights out. But on the outside, Benjamin St-Juste, who I guess will be lined up with Mike Evans, and Emmanuel Forbes, who will be getting the opposite receiver on the boundary. Emmanuel Forbes, our first-round pick last year, he was a nightmare last year. But as Washington fans, we're trying to give these current players the benefit of the doubt that bad coaching was a lot of the issue. So Joe Witt Jr. and Dan Quinn, every stop they've made in this league, they've improved defenses tremendously. Dallas' secondary was awful when Quinn and Witt got there, and it was lights out. They're setting records years later. Your wide receivers versus our corners will probably tell the entire matchup of how this game is going to go. But switching to the opposite side of the ball, your defense, Vita Vea and Kalijah Kancey, that's another one of the league's best interior interior fronts. But there's injury concerns with both guys last year, correct? Vea's only played 2 full seasons in his career, right?
As far as I know, let me go ahead and just do a quick search on that. So he did play 16 games in 2019. He played 16 games in 2021. So last year he did end up playing and starting in 15 games. The year before that, playing and starting in 14. So majority of games, but yes, you are right. He has missed a game here or there. Vita Vea did lead the Bucs in sacks last year with 5.5, or sorry, Yaya Diaby led the team in sacks. Vita Vea was still towards the top there in terms of sacks with 5.5. Past couple of years, he had 5.5 sacks in 2023, 6.5 in 2022, 4 sacks in 2021.
Baller.
So
I like him coming out.
For sure. And he's been developing more as a pass rusher, along with his ability as just a big run stopper. He's gotten a little bit more lean this offseason to hopefully add to a little bit more to his speed as well. And then the case of Calijah Kancey, like you said, this is another dude that I really did love. I've really just loved the past 2 first-round picks the Bucs have made with Graham Barton this year and then Calijah Kancey last year as well. Now, Calijah Kancey did have some injury issues. He played and started in 14 games last year. He did get 4 sacks. He did lead the Bucs in quarterback hits last year, tied for the lead, I believe, with Yaya Diaby. So he's another young guy that you really hope can do some really good things in year number 2 and is looking to take that next leap forward.
Okay, I know Calijah Kancey, people were calling him baby Aaron Donald coming out of school. Y'all got those guys. You got Yaya Diaby and the guy with the 3-letter initials. What is it, Tryon?
It's Joe Tryon Shoyinka.
Tryon Shoyinka. Yep, those are your starting edge rushers, correct?
Yes, that is correct. And whenever you look at that group, that's still something much like to the point of the Washington Commanders. That's a bit of a question mark as the Bucs. Now, Todd Bowles loves to blitz. Every single year, he's up towards the top in terms of how many blitzes he's sending throughout a year. He is very aggressive in terms of his overall scheme. Yaya Diaby last year did lead the Bucs as a rookie in terms of sack numbers. He had 7.5 sacks last year. Number 2 was the Bucs safety, Antoine Winfield Jr. I'm sure we'll talk about him. Joe Tryon Shoyinka is an interesting case. Yet again, another player out of Washington. The Bucs really like drafting players out of Washington, but hasn't really lived up to the moniker of a first-round pick yet. Has 13 career sacks in 3 years, which is fine. But typically at this point in your career, you probably want a player who could be up to where Diaby was last year, maybe 7.5, 8 sacks. And I would say right now the Bucs don't have a pure top leader in that outside edge rushing linebacker room.
Relatable.
It could be Yaya Diaby. It could be Joe Tryon Shoyinka, but we don't know yet. And that's going to be a big question is how are the Bucs going to generate their pressure? Are they going to have to continue to just blitz and rely on that? Or can they kind of take a step back, maybe be a smidge more conservative because you are getting more out of Joe Tryon Shoyinka. You are getting more out of Yaya Diaby. Those are some of the bigger question marks that the Bucs have. They did also draft Chris Braswell in the 2nd round out of Alabama in this most recent draft. You also have a couple of other interesting guys in there, such as Anthony Nelson as a rotational pass rusher, some young guys like Jose Ramirez and Marquise Watts. Of course, I'm sure you saw the Randy Gregory situation that didn't really work out. So it's still a bit of a question mark after Shaq Barrett had left. Who is going to kind of be the top guy in this pass rush room going forward? It's a question that still is trying to get figured out at this point.
I'm glad you mentioned the Shaq Barrett thing too. That was an odd situation from an outsider standpoint. What happened with Shaq Barrett? Did he retire, unretire? What happened with that?
Yeah, so two interesting situations. So firstly, in the case of Shaq Barrett, he was released. He went to the Miami Dolphins and then he eventually retired. Now there has been like some speculation. I believe Shaq Barrett was on the Kay Adams show recently and had said that if the one place he would play for again, if to unretire, would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Of course, as I'm sure you know, once a player retires, that team still retains their rights until their contract is out. So the Bucs, if they did want Shaq Barrett to come back, they would have to trade for him. So that's kind of a situation that is very unlikely at this point by most standards. Then in terms of the Randy Gregory situation, he's never showed up. In fact, nobody really knows why. You're familiar with Randy Gregory from his time with the Dallas Cowboys. Bit of an interesting player. He's in the middle of a lawsuit currently still today with the NFL Even the Bucs organization never knew why he never showed up. So it's a very interesting situation there. And the Bucs were looking for a veteran pass rusher. Ultimately, their plan to get one didn't pan out. So now they are relying on young guys yet again. So we'll see if that bit of a gamble does pay off for the Bucs, or they may look to bring in another veteran guy somewhere down the line.
Randy Gregory's career has been an enigma marred by constant off the field issues. That's why I'm kind of glad, even though I liked them coming out of school, I'm kind of glad Washington never took any bids on the Randy Gregory business. But our offensive line is going to be headlined by a guy we paid the bag to this morning. Sam Cosmi, our right guard, one of the few only picks that Ron Rivera hit on in his time in Washington. He gets a 4-year, $74 million deal, $45 million guaranteed. That's the only real grandstanding headliner on our group. At left tackle, protecting our rookie quarterback, which we're going to get to in a second, is another rookie, Brandon Coleman out of TCU, a rookie we took in the 3rd round of the draft this year. On the right side, a free agent we paid that was very disappointing last year, Andrew Wiley. So I think on paper, y'all would have the edge on the outside of the front 7 on the defensive side. So generating pass rush, that's going to be something I'm going to be paying attention to. But in the secondary as well, y'all might have the best safety in the NFL right now. Is that exaggeration or the truth?
No, I mean, I don't think so at all. I mean, you take a look at what Antoine Winfield Jr. did last year, and it was a fantastic year. I mean, he was a Pro Bowler. He was an wasn't a Pro Bowler. He was an All-Pro first team. And he had 6 forced fumbles, 6 sacks, 122 tackles, 8 quarterback hits, 6 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions, 4 fumbles recovered. Anything that you needed Antoine Winfield Jr. to do last year, he did. I don't think it's a stretch to say he is the best safety in the NFL. And it's going to be an interesting matchup with the Washington Commanders wide receiver room. You have Terry McLaurin, who everybody knows how good Terry McLaurin can be. Oh, yeah. You have Luke McCaffrey in that mix now as well. That entire family just goes out there and plays good football, apparently.
Everybody.
You have Olamide Zaccheaus coming in out of the Atlanta Falcons. And then you also brought in Zach Ertz as well. So there's a lot of different names there in that pass attack for quarterback Jaden Daniels, who again we'll talk about here in a little bit. You've even got some guys like Brian Robinson Jr. and especially Austin Eckler as kind of some receiving threats in there as well. So it is going to be an interesting matchup for the secondary. As I said, you know, I believe personally that Antoine Winfield Jr. is the best safety in the NFL. You also brought back Jordan Whitehead, somebody who had a few good years with the Bucs, won the Super Bowl with them back in 2020, went off to the New York Jets for a couple of years, and he's back as well. In my opinion, that's one of the better safety duos just in the NFL. A big question mark for the Bucs secondary is, one, can Jamel Dean stay healthy? Jamel Dean is a player who has never played in a full season's worth of games in his entire career so far up to this point. So he is another player who has had some injury concerns. The most games he has played and started in his career is 15 back in 2022. He only played and started in 13 games last year. So can he hold up health-wise? That's going to be a big question. And then also, how is Zion McCollum going to do at cornerback? He is the guy tabbed to replace Carlton Davis at that cornerback position. He did play and start in 9 games last year for the Bucs. I think he did a pretty good job, all things considered. But ultimately, you aren't going to know until you get out there and play some ball. So it's another one of those question marks. As I said earlier, the Bucs are relying on a lot of young players, especially in that defensive side of the ball, where Todd Bowles has to kind of coach these guys. His defensive staff has to grow and develop these guys. So ultimately, we will just have to wait and see what happens.
I think the biggest question is going to be, how do you guys fare versus an elusive quarterback? Because the guy we got behind center that we're so excited about, that has all the hype from national, local, everybody, Jaden Daniels, a guy who not only threw for 4,000 yards and 40 touchdowns, ran for 1,210 touchdowns in college last year, a guy who uses the run as an extra weapon and not the main weapon, who can extend the plays, can do it with his arm, his legs, and in between the ears. What is the plan for defending rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels, and how does that defense under Todd Bowles normally fare against mobile quarterbacks?
Yeah, firstly, I agree. I liked Jaden Daniels coming out of the NFL draft. I think that this was a very good pick for the Commanders. I think that he is a guy who can really go out there and provide a lot for Washington going forward as they continue to find their way as a team. I think with any rookie quarterback, you need to get pressure. You need to make that rookie uncomfortable, right? So that's something that Todd Bowles, he is a tenured defensive play caller in the NFL for many years, is something that he's going to try and do. So I think you could very well see more blitzing in this upcoming game to try and rattle the confidence of Daniels, make him a bit more uncomfortable in the pocket. And whenever it talks about mobile quarterbacks, that is something that I think every team can struggle with, right? You want to make sure that your linebackers are on point. You look at Levante David, you may look at KJ Britt in there as well, the person who is replacing Devin White now that he has gone to the Eagles. Those guys are going to be pretty critical in terms of ensuring they can kind of keep track of where Daniels is going to be at all times, because as you said, if the offensive line, especially on the edges, is a bit of a weaker point for the Commanders in this upcoming game, then you may see Daniels look to run even more in this matchup. If Bowles is sending a lot of blitzes, that's where I think you can see guys like Levante David, like KJ Britt. Maybe you even involve a very versatile type of safety like Antoine Winfield Jr., all guys who can try and contain Daniels, but obviously, as you said, that's not always an easy thing to do.
My guy Red Wings had a question for you. He said, thanks for chopping it up. How much does Dave Canales' departure affect your offense? And he's curious to know how undrafted free agent Cameron Johnson, if he has a role on you guys' roster this year.
Yeah, firstly, in the case of Dave Canales, there's been a lot of speculation as to how big of an effect this is going to have on the Bucs offense. And ultimately, we won't know. I mean, it's not great for continuity that Dave Canales did go to the Carolina Panthers for sure, but there are a lot of elements in Liam Cohen, the Bucs' new offensive coordinator's offense, that are very similar to what was done in Dave Canales' offense. People still forget that the rushing attack last year was still league worst for the Bucs. Yes, the Bucs did run the football more, but in terms of just overall efficiency, was still not where you want it to be. I think with the addition of Liam Cohen, maybe adding some new elements, being a disciple under Sean McVay over with the LA Rams can add a bit of an improvement. More motion in this offense will be a bit of an improvement. And then also, as I mentioned, an addition like Graham Barton at center is going to be huge for the offensive attack. No discredit to former starting center Robert Hainsey, but I think that a new OC, yes, while it does take away from continuity, can also add some positive things to this offense as well, which again, we will ultimately have to wait and see. But then next, in the case of Cameron Johnson, this is a player that a lot of people have been talking about in terms of what his role could be, especially in Bucs circles. So thank you for bringing him up as well. He's a guy that was used a little bit in the final preseason game. Unfortunately, didn't get a ton of looks in preseason and training camp and whatnot, just due to injury. I don't necessarily know what his role is going to be on the offensive side of things going forward, because as me and Rio were talking about earlier, the wide receiver room is the strongest strength of the Bucs. You have Mike Evans, you have Chris Godwin, you have Jalen McMillan, and you have Trey Palmer as your top 4 wide receivers. I personally don't envision Cameron Johnson getting a ton of playing time over those guys. However, maybe you do see him in some plays here or there, just in a couple of more interesting situations. Maybe he does work his way into that wide receiver rotation going forward and get some regular season snaps. But he will also be used as the main kickoff and punt returner for the Bucs this upcoming season, trying to showcase his explosiveness as a playmaker, as a returner as well.
Okay, so give me a X factor for Sunday that nobody's talking about right now, and I'll give you one as well, and then I'm going to get your score prediction for Sunday that I know you got to get out of here for tonight, and I'm going to keep it going with the chat.
For sure thing. I think a big X factor, just the first one that popped up into my head, is going to be, I'm going to say KJ Britt, just to name a specific player for the Bucs. I think that we spoke a lot about the mobility of Jaden Daniels, right? And I talked about which players may be responsible. Well, KJ Britt may have a lot to do with that type of responsibility. Also covering running backs like Brian Johnson, as well as Austin Eckler. If Washington has a good run game, that'll alleviate more pressure off of Jaden Daniels as well. So I could see Washington be a bit more run heavy in this game, possibly, especially with the versatility you have in Daniel's game, and that's going to fall on the middle linebackers. And KJ Britt, has a big responsibility here, right? He did start a couple of games last year, did start the 2 playoff games for the Bucs in the absence of Devin White, but I do think that how he ends up playing could determine very big portions of this game, right? If Daniels is able to run around freely, if the running game for Washington gets going, it could be a tough night there, or a tough day for Tampa Bay, I should say. So that's why I'm going to pick KJ Britt as my X factor here.
And your score prediction is going to be what for Sunday?
Well, I do have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning this game. I apologize to everybody in the chat.
As you should.
I know this is a Washington-friendly stream here, but I do have the Bucs winning. I do think it is going to be a closer game than a lot of people are anticipating it to be. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning this game 24-20, let's say. I think it will be a close matchup. I think it will come down to the wire, but ultimately I do believe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will get the win here. But Washington will show a lot of good things in this matchup.
And I respect that. And you should be, and everybody out there, all the prognosticators and media pundits in the world should be picking the team that almost went to the NFC Championship over the team with 30 new players, 14 new starters, and a rookie quarterback. But I think we're going to hit you guys with the element of surprise, and I think our rookie quarterback's going to hit the ground running. I'm taking Washington 24-23, 1-point victory. I got us going down, and Cade York, our new kicker, our 4th this season off season. I think Cade York's going to kick a game-winning field goal on a game-winning drive, and the legend of Jaden Daniels is going to begin. I know you got to run. I appreciate you for coming on with me tonight. Let people know where they can find you on social media and on your channel, and you can go ahead and get out of here.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching this. By the way, if you are new to Rio's channel, make sure you like and subscribe. We would greatly appreciate that. And you can find me on Mr. Bucks Nation here on YouTube. I run the YouTube channel Mr. Bucks Nation, where I talk about all things Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you guys go check out my content, you enjoy it, subscribe there as well. I'd greatly appreciate it. I'm going to be live this weekend watching the game, as well as I know Rio is going to be also. So I'd greatly appreciate the support. And Rio, thank you so much for having me on, man. I greatly appreciate it.
Exactly. Everybody who comes on the channel is family, y'all. So we can all support the family. We all got to eat. And I'm envious of this guy because he got to do a watch party live stream covering his team in the Super Bowl. One day, fingers crossed, I can do the same. You can go ahead and get out of here, my guy. I'll talk to you later, man.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
I appreciate you, boss. But okay, guys, let's talk about it. Let's talk amongst the family now. It's just us now. The company has left the building. We can speak freely now. First things first, let's talk about the injury report. Let's talk about today's practice, and we can get into the Rael team thing that happened earlier with a staff member. We keep it nice and cool. We keep it steady Eddie, and we keep it tame, because I'm trying to, when I bring these guests on, I like to give them the floor so we can know exactly what our opponent was bringing on Sunday when we go down to Raymond James Stadium. But now we can talk amongst the family. Let's get to the shits. Washington's first injury report of the season. Nobody limited except Johnny Newton needs to be discussed because Marcus Mariota isn't playing. I think Daron Payne, I believe that's just precautionary. And Trent Scott, we do not need to see him on the football field. The first story about this injury report is Brandon Coleman is a full participant in practice, y'all. Brandon Coleman is back. We finally get to see our rookie left tackle. We finally get to see it, y'all. We finally get to see what all the fuss is about, what all the hype is about, why this guy came out and won a job without going one live practice, one live joint practice, or in a preseason game. Let's get it, man. You have to talk about Ray. Oh, no. We're going to get to that. I'm going to pull up the clip and everything. We're not going to watch the whole thing because of copyright reasons, but we're going to turn that thing on because that's going to be a whole different conversation. Let's talk about football first. Then we're going to get to the shenanigans. But let's get it. Give me some score predictions in the chat while we go through this injury report. Jerzon Johnny Newton, the latest update on Johnny Newton. He practiced today. He's going to have a light day tomorrow. And Friday, we're going to see how he feels, and we're going to determine whether he's a go for week 1. So our 2 rookies that we've been dying to see all off season are now on the precipice of returning to action. And I'm so fucking hyped to see it, baby. Let's go. Get hyped. Fuck all that negative shit. I see my guy Jared in here talking negativity. Oh, we're going to lose. There's no way we can beat Baker and them. Why the fuck not? Why the fuck not beat Baker and them Sunday? Why not? They have no idea what we're pulling out on Sunday. They have no idea what Jaden Daniels as a pro quarterback is. They have no idea what Joe Witt's scheme looks like or what Cliff Kingsbury's offense looks like here. Now that he has a 6'4" quarterback and not a dwarf. And I love Kyler Murray, but that's a thing. Why not us to upset the Bucks? A 9-8 playoff team. Yes, they looked good. They beat the bricks off Philly in the playoffs last year. Yes, a couple stupid flags and a couple errant Baker Mayfield throws, and they were in the NFC Championship last year. Yes, but also, I've seen these niggas lose to Desmond Ridder. I've seen Desmond Ridder throw for 350 yards on Todd Bowles' defense. Jiffy Lube mechanic, full synthetic oil change salesman, Desmond Ridder. I've seen him fry them. Desmond Ridder, fam. We want to compare our guy and his ceiling to that of the CJ Strouds of the world, right? You saw what CJ Stroud did to these boys last year. 470 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks. Okay, I understand we should not be favored. We should not be favored in this game. But fuck them. Why the fuck can't we beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? These ain't no world beaters walking. Those are not the Kansas City Chiefs walking onto that field. And also, you know how September football is, baby. Everybody hasn't got going yet. A lot of good teams start slow, and some of the wackiest outcomes, box scores, and final scores come out in the first couple weeks of the season. But why we can't make this game out to be some David and Goliath shit? Like, they're good. They're better than us, but pump the fucking brick. This is not some 12-4, 13-4 type title contender. They have a shot, but Baker Mayfield is 1 year removed from being a fucking journeyman in the NFL. While he had his best season as a passer last year, over 4,000 yards, 28 touchdowns. He had 2 receivers over 1,000 yards. He had a running back that ran for 990 yards, also had 600 yards on the ground, 9 total touchdowns. Cade Otton, their tight end, just under 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. They got weapons galore. They got offensive line pieces, including one of the better tackles in football who got a bag this offseason in Tristan Wirfs. They drafted Graham Barton to add to that offensive line this offseason. They've got pieces on both sides of the ball, but I'd like to say that we do too. We do too. Why not us? I got us 24-23 over these Bamas this week. Full participants for Dante Fowler Jr., Cleveland Farrell, Fowler, and Payne. Those look like veteran precautionary additions to the injury report. Johnny Newton is the only name you really need to circle on this list, unless we hear more about this Daron Payne situation and there's more than I need to add to it. I don't know about you guys, but I watched a little bit of everything today. I watched a whole bunch of press conferences after practice. I looked at how gracious Sam Cosmi was when he went to the podium after he got his bag. And he said something, and it just made me smile. I was just sitting up looking at the TV like, wow, this really is my life now. You know that meme where the African guy is like, oh my God, wow. That was me. That was me just looking up at my TV like, wow. In a trance. He said, I got to protect that guy up. I got to protect that guy behind me because, guys, I think we got a special one. And I was just like, we do. That's my quarterback. And then I watched Jaden Daniels' presser. There's just something about the mood and the delivery and the clarity that guys are speaking with at the podium right now, they just look ready. They look ready. It sounds like they're prepared. It sounds like nobody's too overly excited, anxious, anticipatory. It seems like everybody's just ready. Jaden's like, it's another game. This is my first NFL game, but it's another game. I got to prepare accordingly. But they just look and sound ready. What was the main thing? Ron's Washington, Shanahan's Washington, Druden's Washington. What was the main thing that we could harp on the on-field results? It was that we looked fucking unprepared on a week-to-week basis. We looked undisciplined. We looked like there was a clear disconnect between coach and player and between player and player. How many different coverage gaffes and miscommunications between players or clearly coverage busts that we've seen over these last 20 years? I don't think we're going to see too much of that. Obviously, early on, while they're fine-tuning some things, there are going to be some issues. It's not going to come out perfectly. These guys got to form together and make some chemistry. I hate to hit you with the old cliche, but Rome was not built in a day. But you can get to it while you got the foundation built. You know what I'm saying? Somebody can stay in the building when there's a roof on that motherfucker. So we may not have the whole temple built in year one, but we can start putting some walls around that thing and we can start laying the bricks down so we can form a foundation. And I see no reason why we can't come out and beat these boys on Sunday. They should be favorite, and I expected them to be the favorite. But let's go through some lines real quick. I know there were some lines from this game that were very interesting. Let me go to my page. I posted some earlier from BetUS. Let's talk about some of these overs because I think these are easy overs. And like I said, we should not be the favorites in this game. As you can see, we are not the favorites in this game. These are the NFL Network picks. Nothing too outlandish for the most part. Colleen Wolfe has us losing by a field goal. Maurice Jones-Drew has us losing by 8 points, so a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Adam Rank has us only losing by 4. Marcus Grant has us losing 17-10. Bucky Brooks has us losing by a field goal. Shout out to Eric Edholm, who picked us to win 24-21. I got 24-23. Does anybody up here have my score? Absolutely not. So you want to make yourself some money this weekend? No, I'm just kidding. Don't put any money out there that I tell you to play because I am no expert gambler. Please do not lose any money because of me. But I'm gonna put a little bet in that says final score 24-23 Washington. And Daniel Jeremiah got us losing by a point. Shook got us losing by a point. Ken Patrick has us losing 22-20. Those are what they think of Washington going into week one, and we cannot be mad at that. I see no reason why we should be mad at any of that. Let's talk about these lines, though. I'm looking at this one specifically. This feels like an easy over. I know it's his first game. I know it may rain. I know we want to get the run game involved. Doesn't that feel like an easy over for y'all? Or am I tripping? Am I tripping? I'm good as long as we're going to win more than 5 games. Not 40 skins, fucks. Nah, the skins versus the fucks. My boy Charles, Shop with Charles. Shout out to Charles for joining the channel today, by the way. 24-14 Redskins in Todd's voice. In Todd Bowles' voice. I can see us winning 28-23, so you got us scoring 4 touchdowns with no field goals or no extracurricular other things. Okay, that's interesting. A wise man once said, why not Washington? A few wise men have said that thing. You stupid, real, not synthetic. You real, not synthetic. My man Jiffy Lube Ritter, yo. Him and Heineke look like they would run the coolest car shop you've ever seen, bruh. That's a car shop I'd want cameras inside of, bro. It'd be like a fucking frat house in there. But this feels like an easy over for week one for Washington, correct? 217 yards. I got Daniels throwing for 220 on Sunday. What y'all think? I know it's his first game of the season, but shout out to our sponsors over at BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. We're going over some lines right now. Make sure you get over with BetUS. I will be putting out a test demo of how to place a bet on BetUS when my password comes in today. I will be showing you guys how to place bets on it because the website can be a little bit complicated at first, but exactly, we used to come in very unprepared and flat. We were the habitual slow starters. That's kind of nasty. I'm sick of it, and I want to see something new, but I definitely think this is an easy over to start the season for Jaden Daniels. Now, this one, if that was not an easy over for you, this should be an easy over, especially considering that Eric Trash Bieniemy is not walking through that door in Ashburn or heading to that stadium at Raymond James. I hope UCLA is not playing a team nowhere near us because I don't even want his aura to touch our air in Florida this Sunday. But that is an easy over if I've ever seen one before. Terry McLaurin, 58.5. It sounds like they got Terry extremely fucked up. No disrespect to the sponsor. What are we talking about? 58.5 yards in week 1? Terry's good for a deep ball a game. That's the over. See, look, they're clearly fixing these lines off of what we were last year. And I think someone over there in Vegas needs to take another look at what we have on this roster. Terry is going to get targeted for days this year. Discipline and effort. Most importantly, progress. Incremental week-to-week progress. And an identity to be formed. When week 17 hits, fuck the win-loss record. Do we know who this team is going forward? Do we know how this team wins games? Do we know how this team loses games? When a team sees us on the schedule, do they say, oh, these motherfuckers, man. God, man, these motherfuckers, they give us hell for 60 minutes. They are violent. They are disciplined. Them boys are fat. Their pace is different because Kingsbury's bringing over this pace and space offense. Oh, I don't want to play Washington because these motherfuckers don't go to the huddle. They don't call time. I want us to establish a freaking identity in 2024. Commanders will probably lose. It may take a few games for the team to figure it out, but my gut is usually wrong, so that might mean a win for the Commanders. I feel the same way. I feel the reverse psych things. I just feel so optimistic about the outlook of the team right now, even if I know and understand that the opponent is better than us going into this week 1 matchup. I can't just say we're going to lose to them. I think we're going to win this game. Why not rein in the new with a victory? Why can't Jaden Daniels go out there and show out in his first NFL game? I know who Todd Bowles is. I know what Todd Bowles is capable of doing defensively. You know what Todd Bowles doesn't know? What this Washington offense consists of, because we didn't show a fucking thing in the preseason. So they just have to go off of Jaden Daniels' college reputation, Cliff Kingsbury's time at Arizona, and guess what Luke McCaffrey and De'Ami Brown and company are doing, because there ain't much tape or production out there on those guys. They don't know. We're going to talk about that. Let's get an hour of football before we get to that. We're going to talk about that. We definitely going to talk about it. JD5, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pass, 1 run. So is that 280 total yards or 280 passing yards? We're going to talk about Rael in a second. I'm going to pull that up on Twitter. Terry got to get at least 1,300 yards and 7 touchdowns so he can finally get the – exactly. And I think it's coming because Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury, if you know that motherfucker, he's going to target the hell out of his favorite receiver. JD5 might go out like RGD did versus the Saints in 2012. He might come out better because this is a more polished passer coming out of school. He may come out smoking. We know what we saw with this guy. The media, even when they tried to, could not tell us he had a bad practice this summer. That's how legit Jaden has looked this summer, guys. Get hype. Wake the fuck up, Washington. Even if we do take an L in week 1, go in with it with your head high and your chest out. We can beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday. And I think we're going to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday. And we're coming back to Northwest Stadium to host those motherfucking New York Giants, but I ain't going to start on them yet. I'm going to unload on them boys next week. Pause, because that sounded crazy, but we're going to talk about them next week. We got the Buccaneers on our plate right now, and I like our chances to beat this football team. I got us winning 24-23 on Sunday. Zach Ertz receiving yards Sunday. How are we feeling? If you've been paying attention to my channel, that's a naked ass helmet he has on in his graphic, by the way. If you've been paying attention to my channel, this is my X factor of 2024 for the Commanders. And that surprised some people because I think we're underrating and underestimating the value and role Zach Ertz plays on this team. He's not just the culture setter. He's not just the veteran placeholder for the position till Ben Sinnott's ready. He's the starting tight end, and he's a focal point of the offense. What is the biggest security blanket for a rookie quarterback or a quarterback in general? A solid and formidable tight end. A formidable tight end, and Zach Ertz at this big age is still that. And they have plans for him. As long as Zach Ertz stays healthy, fingers crossed, if he stays healthy for 17 weeks, I think his stat line is going to surprise a lot of people because we have plans for Zach Ertz. We have plans for Zach Ertz. We're going to be using that guy. Heavy dose of B-Rob and Eckler on Sunday, and we win. And they don't just got that doesn't limit him to the run game, too. Throw the ball to him, throw some swing routes, throw some screen passes. Remember how we used to beg this team to have an effective screen game? I think we're definitely going to have one of those going forward. Dub all day, 32-13. I like it. That's aggressive, but I like it. I like it. Motherfucking no. My only concern is our kicker. Everyone else has been coached. Kicker got to kick, man. At the end of the day, the kicker got to kick. The long snapper got to snap. The punter got to punt, and the kicker got to kick. It's your only job in this league. Let's hope we got past the days of a rotating musical chairs door of kickers, because 4 in one offseason is enough for me. If we have to come in here next week and say Washington still needs a kicker, that's a fucking issue. And let's hope that issue is not something. Heineke beat the Bucs with Brady. Why not JD5 beating? Exactly, y'all. Y'all are forgetting this is not Ron's Washington no more. We got most of the team is new. New starter, Luke McCaffrey. New starter, Jaden Daniels. New starter, Brandon Coleman. New starter, Tyler Biadasz. New starter, Nick Allegretti. New starter, Olamide Zaccheaus. New starter, Cleveland Farrell and Dorrance Armstrong. New starter, Mikey Sanders still. New starter, Frankie Louvu, Bobby Wagner, Jeremy Chin, Quan Martin. Nigga, that's like 70% of the starters are new. I know we need time to gel and to form chemistry, but we gotta stop looking at this shit out of the lens of old Washington. We are not that anymore. We are not coming unprepared on Sundays. Say what you want about Dan Quinn, call him mid, say he choked away a 25-point lead in a Super Bowl, say in the playoffs with Dallas, he choked, say everything you want about Dan Quinn. He's going to bring his team prepared to fucking play on Sundays, and that's on everything. Ertz will have a resurgence year. I'm going to look, it may be just me. I may just be drinking the burgundy and gold Kool-Aid. I'm smashing the over on all of these shits. I'm smashing the over on Jaden yards. I'm smashing the over on Terry yards. I'm smashing the over on Ertz yards. These are his 2 top targets, and they got them going for 23.5 yards and 58.5 yards. I like Terry to give me 60 yards. I like Zach Ertz to give me 24 yards. Point blank, period. Over so far. Let's see what else we got. This is the line for the game on Sunday. The spread right now, the point total is 44 points. Since I got it 24-23, I'm taking the over. I'm taking 47 points. And we got +3 We're only 3-point dogs on the road coming off a 4-13 season. That should tell you the league Vegas got a lot more respect about us than you. I'm going to the Eagles game. You're going, I should be there. 347 for 2 tickets. That's not too crazy if the tickets are good. It should be worth it. It's a new era, man. But we don't know our old coaches. That alone is worth 3 more exactly. But we don't have our own coaches. Yeah, exactly, Charles. Speak to him. Ben Sinnott, the X Factor. Oh, yeah, there we go. Let's start that. Who is your X Factor on Sunday, guys? Who is your X Factor for Washington on Sunday? My X Factor for Sunday is going to be someone who I predicted in our group chat pod is going to have a crazy amount of sacks this year. Dorrance Armstrong. I think Tampa's pass game can be neutralized if we're getting some push, not only on the interior, if we get some on the outside. My X Factor Sunday is Dorrance Armstrong. It's too easy to pick Jaden. So don't pick Jaden Daniels as your X Factor. He's an X Factor every week because the ball touches his hands every play that the offense is on the field. Dorrance Armstrong is my X Factor on Sunday. Who is yours? We haven't seen the starting defensive line yet. I'm excited. I'm very excited to see him. I want to see this new scheme. I want to know what exotic blitz packages and stunts and what type of complicated things we're doing, what type of confusing coverages and disguising coverages and making man look like zone and zone look like man. I want to see what Joe Witt Jr.'s bag looks like because we don't know what it looks like because this is his first time being a defensive coordinator. And he already told you in that press conference, he has his dreams and his eyes set on higher than being a defensive coordinator. That man wants to be a head coach. And he don't want to wait long for one of those jobs. So don't expect that man to be out there bullshitting. He got to show the league, oh, he's one of them ones, and everybody needs to pay attention to him because he's a no-nonsense guy. I could listen to Joe Witt press conferences for the rest of my life, bro. If you have a problem getting up in the morning, put on Joe Witt Jr.'s introductory press conference where he says, the way we live is not for everyone. The way we live is not for everyone because we're going to throw our bodies around and we're going to inflict violence. We're going to inflict violence and controlled chaos on people. He wants killers on that football field. Killers, dogs. That's why I need Johnny Newton on that field on Sunday. I need Johnny Newton adding something in that rotation with John Allen and Daron Payne because Johnny Newton is a fucking dog. Eckler is definitely a very good X factor for this game. My boy Charles got Frankie Louvu. Maniac said B-Rob. Luke McCaffrey. Yo, you know what would be cool? If Luke comes out and hoops week 1. Luke comes out and gives us like 4 catches, 70 yards, maybe a touchdown, maybe a big reception. It would be cool. There are things we're going to see Sunday that we have no idea is going to take place. And that surprise is what I'm excited for. We don't know what's going to happen. And I'm here for that, man. We're about to talk about the defensive side of the ball a little bit. And then we can talk about what happened with Washington today because, you know, we almost made it through a whole offseason without some off the field shit happening. We're going to get to that in just a second. We talked about Jaden Daniels. We talked about the offense. Defensively, what is your biggest question for Sunday? I feel like it's very obvious. Can we get to Baker Mayfield? Because if we don't get to Baker Mayfield, we have to rely on our cornerbacks to be in the right place. Can scheme help that situation? Sure. But at the same time, players still have to play, regardless of if you put them in the right place. I've seen plenty of bad players in the right place, still unable to make a play at the end of it. So defensively, other than getting to the quarterback, what is your biggest question Sunday? What is your biggest question going into this Tampa Bay game Sunday? What's going on, Hazard? I'm not playing at all, man. We pushing this shit out right now. It's week 1. What better week, what better time than to go in on content than the week NFL start? I'll be live again throughout the whole game tomorrow night. and Friday night and through the entire slate of games Sunday from 1 through our game at 425. But man, Slender Man needs a pick, says Calandalorian. X Factor Cliff Kingsbury. This belief is going to create trauma. What belief? Which belief? In the coaches? Forbes versus Evans. Oh, yeah, man. Forbes, yeah, let's try to. It's crazy, dog, because Mike Evans, he's had a career of production and getting open. He's not fast at all, and he's not the most amazing route runner, but that motherfucker is always open. He's like the bigger, sloppier bodied version of young Keenan Allen, but just finds his way open, but he cannot run routes, and Keenan Allen's a technician. Mike Evans is just a big, nasty, productive receiver that just shows up in uniform and wakes up out of bed with 1,000 yards every year. Who's going to cover Mike Evans? Our best bet at that, I believe, is Benjamin St-Juste. I think Benjamin St-Juste is our best bet with Mike Evans. He has the length, he has the frame, and he has enough speed to run with Mike Evans because Mike Evans isn't a burner. He finds a way behind safeties, but he's not a burner. It's got to be St-Juste. And I know how we all feel about the French Canadian. I know how we feel about that stupid ass dance. Will, that's a great question. I'm trying to figure out whether it's just precautionary or that's actually something we need to monitor. Because stopping the run, we didn't look great at preseason stopping the run at time. This is true. A big factor in that is we didn't see Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, or Bobby Wagner play. And those are going to be three very, very important and key, probably our best three run stoppers on the team. So don't really take anything seriously what you saw in preseason because we haven't seen the final draft of any of our units yet. But I'm hoping with Daron Payne, that's just precautionary because when I saw back, I was like, what are we doing? Supposed to be rain in Tampa, might be a trenches game. It is Florida, so humidity and rain, they come with the territory. It could do that any day out there. So it may rain a little bit. I don't think it's going to change the game plan up too much because I don't think we're going to be out there on some EB bombs over Baghdad, bombs away every play anyway. I think we're going to do a lot of quick stuff and hoping to get some yards after the catch and getting the run game going, not just with our running backs, but with our quarterback who has the ability to outrun the entire fucking defense. So there are a lot of ways that this game could go. Even if it rains, I don't think it changes up our game plan. What about Chin on Evans? Chin is the Frankie Louvu of the secondary, where he's the Swiss Army knife piece in that room. He could be put down as a linebacker. They could blitz him off the edge, and they could put him back in deep coverage. Jeremy Chin can do a lot of things. Yes, that's someone I would feel confident at adding some safety help over the top. I don't know about isolating and letting them just run the ones off the ball with Mike Evans, but yes, he's someone I would like to be paying close attention to Mike Evans on Sunday. Guys, I know this team is better than us on paper, but we really can't go into Sunday afraid of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have a good receiver core. Yes, they have 4 receivers. I understand that. They do. They're also beatable. I watched Desmond Ridder beat this team. Desmond Ridder's not on an NFL roster right now. This team is susceptible to losses. They lost 8 games last year. They did win a playoff game, and they did look very good in their second round playoff game, but this is a beatable football team. The NFC South sucks. Like, we keeping it a whole stack. The NFC South is not good. They're not. I've seen this team barely squeak by some really bad football team. You know what I don't think we're going to be this year? A really bad football team. So I think this is a pick 'em. I think this is a push game, and I have a chance. I know Jeremy Chin is the same. I think you'll talk about the person in the chat, though. You go into the Giants game week 2. That is the plan right now. We shall see. Things may change because I may have my children next week. Therefore, if I do, I will be home doing a watch party with my kids in the living room with me. So what is your over-under on this game? I said 46.5 because I got us winning 24-23. I got 46.5 as the over-under, and I'm taking the over because They got the spread at 44. I got us winning by 1 point, 24-23, and that point total equals up to 47. So that is my over under for this game. Ball is life. I want to see our defense call that part. Remember all those years where we were promised this amazing defense on paper? You know what Dan Quinn and Joe Witt's specialty is as coaches? They put guys in positions to take the ball away. Would love to see Mikey pick one off. I would love to see anybody pick one off. Pick one off, pick two off, pick three off. Baker Mayfield wouldn't put the ball in harm's way. He plays with his balls on the table. He's fearless. He doesn't fear what's in front of him. He will give you an opportunity to take that shit away. I'm tired of Washington being the leaders in almost turnovers. The guys who force the fumbles but never recover it. The guys who jump the route but let the ball bounce off their chest plate. I've seen far too much of it over the year. It doesn't matter who's coaching this team or who's on the field. Whoever we get, they drop picks, they drop interceptions, and I'm sick and tired of it. In 2024 and beyond, I want us to actually do it. Hot take, Forbes will get a pick this week. We need it. We don't hate Emmanuel Forbes, y'all. We want him to be better. Please catch a pick this week. Mike Evans is good, but we're not about to talk about Mike Evans like he's Justin Jefferson, y'all. We're not about to talk about him like he's Justin Jefferson, y'all. If we blow out the Bucs, Rio is getting someone pregnant. Oh, like shit. Hell yeah, we having a week 1 baby. I don't know about all that, man. I think I'm set for life with my son and my daughter. I got 2 of them, but hey, man, it may be a good time at the Casa de Rio if we blow somebody out. So I might have to make the call to get some company after the game, because that high is going into Giants week off a blowout in our first game of the Jaden Daniels era. We gonna be in this chat talking crazy after the game. We gonna be here talking crazy, and we deserve it. Fuck when people say, act like you've been there before. We should be excited about everything surrounding this team right now. Absolutely everything surrounding this team. Don't let anybody try to throw rain or water on your excitement right now, because fuck that. We should be excited. We've been through so much here. During the Dan Snyder era. And speaking of the Dan Snyder era, on the way out, we might as well talk about it. Let me find it. Y'all all saw what happened today. VP of content and socials for the team, Rael and team, a guy I've met quite a few times. This is actually the guy who arranged and put together my interview with the team when I was on the Making the Brand thing. I've met him. Rael's a cool ass guy. I'm looking for it so I don't misconstrue or mislabel what happened in this situation. But we had a Washington VP of social media and content, or whatever his position entails. We had a guy pillow talking on a date, and turns out it wasn't a date. Turned out they had the trap. They were setting that dude up, and they were recording everything he was saying, which sounds kind of illegal, to be perfectly honest. I thought you need consent to record somebody. He must have had the baddest chick he ever saw in his life in front of him, because this motherfucker was flapping gum and he was talking crazy. He was talking like somebody. Honestly, he wasn't talking too crazy. Some of the stuff he was kind of he was spitting, but it's not what you could say when you're a vice president of VP of content for the team. Like, hold on, let me find this. Let me find this exact situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to find this exact video. I'm not gonna play too much of it because I'm not trying to get my video flagged or taken down, but I want to play a clip of that shit because he was spazzing. He was going crazy in this video. Hold up. I think Nikki had it earlier. Oh man, this was interesting though. But when I see people saying same old Washington, yada yada yada, it's not that though. That's not what's happening here. That's not at all what's happening here. So don't think that this means, oh my God, we still got this is a hire that he's been here for a long time. He probably knows where all the bodies are buried from Dan Snyder's tenure in Washington. He probably has an ironclad non-disclosure agreement somewhere there, but I don't know, man. I don't know. That Caleb Williams chain he got, by the way. But what are you guys' thoughts on it? What are you guys' thoughts on the Rael thing? What are y'all's thoughts on it? Because the way I feel, I hate the timing of it, especially because I hate that we have to have on a day where we paid Sam Cosmi, the team had to go issue a statement. They had to go issue a freaking statement. And we got journalists catfishing out here now. Yo, I'm telling you, Shawty had to be the finest joint he ever seen in his life because he was out that joint. He was out that joint bumping his gum. The players are homophobic. The players are racist, half mouth breathers, and he was going crazy. Jerry Jones is a racist, and he runs the NFL. And they put him on suspension upon internal investigation. You know what that means? You are fired with a very healthy severance package as long as you shut the fuck up and you don't speak of any more of this situation because, yeah, man, dude definitely thought he was about to get lucky. But my question was, ain't that illegal? That sounds illegal as hell. You could just record it. And first of all, for him to be opening up that specifically, she had to sound like she was kind of interviewing him, right? So at what point do you put two and two together? Like, am I on a fucking date or I'm on an interview right now? Because she's kind of bugging with what she's asking me. At what point as a grown man do you got to say, but we all been there though. We all been there as thirsty ass grown men. We ain't trying to score. We ain't trying to close the deal. Especially like I had a PR person I will not speak on. I will not speak of this person's name, gender, or their affiliation. They don't work for the team, but they DM'd me and said, I know the person who was there with him. She is a very, very attractive woman, and she trapped him. And she used him to get this information. And I was like, damn, men, always thinking with our head, not the one that sits above our neck. Damn, bro. But anyways, back to football. We're not about to sit here and keep talking about a motherfucker that has nothing to do with what goes on Sunday. I knew Rayo. He seemed like a cool dude. He's cooked. His career is cooked. But let's talk about fucking football. I'm not here to talk about that. We have a game to play on Sunday. Washington at Tampa, baby. Football is back tomorrow. Football is back tomorrow. Jerry sending the Sicarios. They got fucking NFL sting operations. They getting people out of here. That shit hella crazy, man. Only here, man. Only here. It had to be one of our guys, but hey, man, none of this got to do with no Snyder era other than the fact that he was here for that. And he knows where the body's buried in the building. So for Dan Snyder's sake, he better spend some of that $6 billion he had and make Rael have to sign something because that guy knows where everything is buried here in DC. 24-23 is my prediction on Sunday, y'all. What we doing? I'm gone, so maybe he gone, so maybe new content VP will hire Rio when they fire Brian. Oh man, y'all crazy. He shouldn't be talking. He should not. He shouldn't. Loose lips sink ships, y'all. We were just talking earlier about how the building in Washington is different. You're not seeing any news break locally. You're not seeing anybody yapping or snitching to the media. We're actually keeping things in-house for the most part. And then this happens, but fuck all that. We're talking about a football game on Sunday, y'all. Let's talk about Tampa. How we feeling? Where's everybody watching the game Sunday? What's on your menu for Sunday afternoon? What are we eating on? Are we getting all our food out the way before 4:25? What are we talking about over here, man? Opening up that freely for some cheeks is crazy, though. Should have just paid her to leave. Hey, but keep it a buck, though. As men, we do stupid, silly, goofy shit. We do really doofy shit sometimes to get some ass. We put up with shit that we should not put up with. We say things that when we think about it for a couple seconds, like, did I really say that? And I'm not speaking for everybody, but some people try to lead with information or with deception, or I'm this person. I know all these things. I know all these people. So maybe he thought that shit was going to that shit was going to bring him home tonight. I think he thought he was coming back to the home plate. Nice brisk jog around the home plate. But I thought it was illegal. It felt real illegal. What's up with the cornerback position? It's a good question, Danks. I think we need to give him a chance. I think we need to see what Joe Witt's defense consists of. We need to see what this scheme really is, because right now we're just throwing shit at a wall because we didn't see any of it in the preseason. We don't know what it is yet. We did see guys get beat for touchdown. We saw that, but we haven't even seen the whole unit out on the field yet. So we haven't seen the entire ensemble together yet. So we need to give them a chance. We got to give them a chance. I'm trying to go into this season with an open mind, with clean slates and an open mind. Let's see what they look like on Sunday. This is a great test to start. They got 2,000-yard receivers, a 1,000-yard running back who also had 600 receiving yards. Jalen McMillan and Trey Palmer, they're 4 receivers deep. They got a good tight end in Kate Otten. Solid tight end. I won't say good. Good's a little aggressive. Solid quarterback. And Baker Mayfield coming off career highs of 4,000 yards, 28 touchdowns. It helps when you come to a ready-made team because, in case you forgot, this team is 4 years ago. So 3 years before Baker's arrival, this team won a Super Bowl. And they were still a playoff team when Brady retired. So it's like you come to a ready-made team in one of the most ass divisions in the sport. Baker, you were the number 1 overall pick sometime when. So you should throw for 4,000 yards and 28 touchdowns with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans on the outside and with Rashad White in the backfield and with Tristan Wirfs blocking for you. You should do that. That's the bare minimum. You won a playoff game last year. Nigga, you should. You were the first round pick in your draft class, the first overall pick in a class that had Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. You were picked before both of them. So while some of us are afraid of this team on Sunday, let's put things in the proper perspective. This is still Baker fucking Mayfield. He's a solid to good quarterback. He ain't nothing we should be out here saying, oh, we don't have a chance again. Fuck no. Fuck no. Fuck no. Fuck no. It's Baker Mayfield, fam. What are we talking about? Fuck Baker Mayfield. Baker fucking Mayfield. No, we're not about to sit here and talk like we don't have a chance against this guy. We're not doing that. We're not doing that shit, man. Who do I got tomorrow night? Give me the Kansas City Chiefs in a very, very good game opening the season. I think last year they were pissed at how that week 1 turned out, where the Lions clearly outplayed them and they still had a chance to win if it were not for 1,000 drops by the receivers. I know it's not a playoff game, but it would be cool if Northwest Stadium was open for fans for a season opener watch. I've been saying this to the team behind the scenes for years. Fuck doing watch parties at the National Harbor, at MGM. Fuck casinos. I'm not a casino guy. I have no reason to be at a casino. I can bet from my phone, so the sports book is the only thing that entertains me at a casino. Do a watch party at the fucking stadium. Like, for example, if we make it to the playoffs this year, I'm not saying we're going to, and the game's on the road, open up FedEx Field and let us watch the game on the brand new Jumbotrons you paid $70 million for. Come on, like, we got to get these ideas to the ears of the right people. Appreciate you, MD. Said, been trying to catch a live stream. Hell Commanders from Alabama. Shout out to you. What city in Alabama you held in from, my boy? Appreciate you for the $9.99 donation. Appreciate that for real. But exactly, Baker not Mahomes. He not Mahomes. I know they got some stuff over there, but we can't be out here talking about we have no chance. They're gonna dog us. That's a 9-8 football team. We have aspirations to be a better football team than that. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Nah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that at all. The NFL does not miss with its season openers. They don't. And Mahomes is coming with some weaponry with him this year. I want to see that rookie Xavier Worthy. Rashee Rice, Speed Racer Jr., he somehow managed to escape being suspended to start the year. So Rashee Rice is out there. Xavier Worthy's out there. Hollywood Brown's going to miss some time because of the injury he sustained during the preseason. But I'm excited for that game. And since we're here, I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to complete the three-peat, something we've not seen done in the NFL. I think they're going to complete the three-peat, and I got the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Los Angeles Rams in the Super Bowl. That is my prediction. I think Los Angeles is the most not talked about really good football team in the league. They have a duo. They have a combination that maybe one or two other teams in this league can say. They have a head coach quarterback combo that has won a Super Bowl. Look around the landscape of the league. Look around the pecking order of the league. How many teams can say we have a head coach quarterback combo that's won a Super Bowl? Name me them in the chat. Don't say Chiefs. Start at Rams. Don't say Chiefs. Name me the next one. Head coach quarterback combo in unison that both have a Super Bowl win on their roster. You got to look for it. You got to look far and wide for it. That's a good team. They're good on the defensive side of the ball. They're good on the offensive side of the ball. Matt Stafford is him. Cooper Kupp is going to be healthy this year and return to form, and to add to the passing attack that is Puka Nacua in him. They added Blake Corum to a running back room with Kyron Williams, who's an absolute dog. Their defense is like that. Like, what do we talk? People don't talk about the Rams enough for me. They don't. I love it though, because that's my sleeper pick to make the Super Bowl, and I got the Chiefs over the Rams in the Super Bowl this year. Commander fans, Commander content creators are being heard. We will get there, Rio. Yeah, we got from our mouths to God to their ears, because they got to open up they got to involve fans and do shit like that, man. That shit would be so much fun. It looks like Jamin Davis did too. From Jersey, flying down there Sunday to watch the game in Tampa. Hey, have a safe travel and a safe flight. Bring your ponchos, because I hear it might rain, but also it is Florida, so rain is kind of on the schedule on a regular basis. Rain and humidity. Bring an extra jersey if you're wearing one to the game. Fuck Baker. Don't arrest me, bro. Don't arrest me, bro. Mayfield, he's a punk ass. Talk your shit, man. Talk your shit. They not beating San Francisco, Rio. I'm sorry. San Francisco shouldn't have beat Detroit last year. Detroit choked. Detroit lost to San Francisco more than San Francisco beat Detroit last year. If Dan Campbell would have put his balls back in his pants and not on the table, they win that game easily last year. And the Lions, who should have won the NFC, they had a freaking classic playoff game versus the Rams last year. The Rams can beat the 49ers and the Lions, in my personal opinion. And when it comes to the playoffs, I'm picking Matt Stafford in an NFC championship, even though I know the outfit around Brock Purdy is better. Give me Matt Stafford over Brock Purdy in a winner takes all game to win the conference. But we shall see. We shall see. Anybody go? Oh, I will definitely be at that one. That shit's going to feel like homecoming weekend back in high school. Caleb Williams returned to DC. Number 1 versus number 2. The future of the league, a future rivalry of the league, of the first 2 picks of the 2024 draft. That's a must go to. That's a hot ticket. And that's going to feel like a prime time game played at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard at Northwest Stadium. I got to be at that one. Spags is so lit, he won't use the real game plan against Lamar. He'll take the L week 1, and then in the playoffs will be totally different chess. They're going to beat them. They're going to beat the Ravens. I don't like how the Ravens match up against Kansas City. Lamar not ready for that. So I love Lamar Jackson. Lamar not ready for that Mahomes smoke. Another prediction. We could do some MVP. We could do some season predictions while we're here. MVP, Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry. I'm not just trying to glaze the Chiefs. The Chiefs are like that, and they got better. The league was supposed to catch up to Kansas City last year. What Kansas City did last year was crazy. They weren't supposed to win the Super Bowl last year. I got Patrick Mahomes winning the MVP. I think he's going to have one of those 46, 47 touchdown seasons. He's going to go absolutely nuclear. They put him fourth in the fucking NFL top 100. Daddy got in trouble this offseason. His brother been getting in trouble all the time. His wife annoying as shit. He about to go scorched earth on everybody because he's the fourth best player in the NFL, guys. He's the number 2 quarterback in the league. A nigga working on a three-peat. A man before his 30th birthday that has 3 rings on his finger and 4 Super Bowl trips. We call it the 4th best player in the league. The face of the entire shield at the moment is the 4th best player in the league. Yeah, Jaden. Yeah, I know. Jaden, just like Rashee Rice, but I thought as a more high-profile player for the team and what he plays, like, nobody knows who the fuck Jamin Davis is outside of Washington. I thought off the strength that he's a Chief, that they were going to suspend him for some time, but, he got past it. Joey B, I can see it. TJ Stroud, I can see it. I think we're like another year away from MVP Stroud conversation. Shout out to Jacob. I agree. LA Rams go to the Super Bowl. I'm telling you, that's the team nobody's talking about. Everybody's going to say the Niners or the Lions. Or if you're not Niners or the Lions, you're going to say one of the NFC East teams. Not us, but someone's going to say Dallas or Philly. But that Rams team, I'm telling you, man, that you cannot discount championship pedigree in a playoff game. In a winner take all, winner goes to the next round, potentially winner goes to the Super Bowl game. The Chiefs and the Rams are like the only teams in the league that can say our head coach and quarterback won a Super Bowl together. That's hard to deal with in a playoff game. And Detroit barely squeaked past them last year. Diami will have a shocking year. He better. He has to. There's no choice. It's a contract year. It's year 4. He's a 3rd round pick. 3rd round picks don't get 5th year options. So he has no choice but to finally produce for us. And I hope the best for him this year. Maniacs got Aaron Rodgers, the hippie, winning the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow, MVP, or Josh Allen. Who do I got winning the NFC South? My boy, Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons. Give me the Atlanta Falcons to win the South. Shit, fuck it. While we're here, we might as well just go through all the divisions. Let me pull up the divisions right quick. We might as well just go through all the divisions and talk some season predictions, because why the fuck not? We here, right? Let's pull up NFL divisions and let's get to it. I got the Falcons winning the NFC South. I think the Saints are the worst team in the NFL this year. I think Dennis Allen gets fired before Halloween, and I think Bryce Young is going to be one of the more improved players in the league this year. I think the Bucks are going to be in wild card contention again, but I think that Falcons team is like that. That Falcons team is going to be like that this year. We're going to start with the NFC, and we're going to work our way over to the AFC, because I ain't got shit to do on this Wednesday night. So we might as well keep this streamer going. It's Wednesday night. Ain't shit on TV I'm interested in. I'll catch the playback of the WNBA games. We might as well talk about some football right now. Let's go divisionally and pick each team. Let's pick each division. I want to know all of your picks as we go division by division. How the fuck do I switch it to the NFC? God, I'm blind. Pray for my eyes, y'all. There we go. National Football Conference. Pray for my eyes, because, Lord, my new glasses haven't come in yet. It's been like 6 weeks. Your boy is a little down bad right now. All right, let's pull this shit up right now. We about to pull up the divisions. We about to talk division leaders. Fuck. Starting in the South, I got the Atlanta Falcons in the South. I got the Buccaneers finishing in 2nd place. I got the Panthers finishing in 3rd. And I got the Saints being a 3-14 team in the Shador Sanders conversation, the Carson Beck conversation in the draft next year, and them blowing that entire situation up in New Orleans. That's going to be my pick for the NFC South. Let me hear what y'all talking about. Smash that like button for the guy. 280 in the chat. So let's try to get to 150 or 200 likes on the video. Let me see where we're at right now. Let's get 200 likes on this video, y'all. We could definitely get the 200 likes. That's easy money. That's easy work. We got 270 in the chat still right now. We're at 122 likes right now. Let's get the 200 likes on the channel. Let's get it. It definitely helps the channel. It's free to do. All it is a button click away. What do y'all think about the NFC South? The Panthers suck too. I don't think they suck as much as the Saints. And I think Dave Canales, I think he cashes in his quarterback whisperer title that they gave him. And I think his coaching gets through to Bryce Young, and Bryce Young is one of the more improved players we see in this league this year. And I think Bryce Young is going to look very good in his second year. He's not going to look like what we saw. That team was a fucking mess. That team was exactly what we know in Washington. It was a model of what the owner was. It was a fucking mess. The owners throwing bottles at people at games and shit. Shit was nasty, man. I see the consensus that the Falcons are going to win that division. They should. Look at what they got on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Easily the best safety room that we've seen in a minute in the league. They got Justin Simmons and Jesse Bates. They got Terrell on the outside. Man, they got some pieces. They got some pieces over there. I think Bijan is going to be the Bijan we expected him to be and not Arthur Smith's variation of Bijan. Kirk Cousins has no excuse. I think we finally see Kyle Pitts become the freak of nature that we thought he was going to be coming out of Florida a few years ago. I think Drake London is going to reap the benefits of a quarterback like Kirk Cousins as well. My boy said, what you think, Drake London or Terry this week in fantasy? Who do the Falcons play? Because Terry's matchup is Zion McCollum and Jamel Dean. Who are Drake London and the Falcons playing this week? Let me know, and I'll give you a fantasy answer. Oh, Wentz is Mahomes back. Good old Carson about to get him a second ring. You about to get him another ring. Good old Carson. The big red rifle himself, that guy. Falcons win the South, and then Cousins chokes in the playoff. It's possible. Oh, the Falcons play the Steelers? Ooh. That's a tough one because they have a really good defense. We'll see y'all next week, Pizzle. When we break out the brooms on y'all. We only going to break out the broomstick this week. We'll bring the other part when we see y'all again in November. I believe it's November 3rd because y'all getting the broom this year, Pizzle. Y'all getting swept this year. Everybody in the chat, let Pizzle know we're sweeping the Giants this year. Let them know. I'm taking Drake London over Terry in fantasy this week if I had to pick one. That's who I'm taking. Drake London over Terry. I think Terry has a good game, but I think Drake London may get hella targets. That Falcons offense is about to be on and popping this year. But that is my NFC South pick. Let's move to the next division. The NFC North. Very interesting division. Not really. There are two good teams in this division. The Bears are ascending. How good will they be in year one of Caleb? I hate that he's in a situation where they expect and need him to take them to the playoffs to kind of save Ryan Pace and Eberflus's job there. And I need to watch the last episode of Hard Knocks while we're at it. But I think the Lions win this division. I think the Packers are within a game and a half of the Lions for the division. So the Packers are your lead wild card team. The Packers are probably the 5th seed going into the playoffs. I think the Bears are teetering somewhere in the 8 to 10 win range. If Caleb gets to lighten shit up immediately with Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, DeAndre Swift, and Cole Kmet, and that nasty-ass Eberflus defense, who've added Montez Sweat and have all the pieces they have on that defense, Jalen Johnson locked up long-term, the Bears could be vouching or vying for a wild card spot if Caleb comes in smoking. He has a ready-made roster. That roster is ready to go because unlike every other number one pick in the history of number one picks, that was a 7-win football team that could have easily been a 10-win football team if their quarterback wasn't ass. If Justin Fields was better and could stay on the field for 17 weeks, that's an easy playoff team last year. But they couldn't do those things, and they lacked at the quarterback position, and that's why they finished 7-10. And with 7 wins, they got the number 1 pick in the draft because they made a trade with the Carolina Panthers the year before. One of the more interesting trades we're going to always talk about until the end of time, especially if Caleb goes in and does what I think he could do in Chicago. I think Caleb Williams breaks the Chicago streak and throws for 4,000 in his first year. You think it's bad in Washington for quarterbacks? These Bamas have never seen a 4,000-yard passer before. Now, that's poverty. That's real ass poverty over there. You know what I mean? But we're about to move on to the next division in just a second. What's going on, Commanders Post? I'm sure we'll have designed runs, but how many do you think we'll have for JD? I'm sure we'll have designed runs. How many what? How many touchdowns, yards, touchdown? What are we talking about? What are we talking about right now? Man, Pizzle came in to talk some shit. I can't wait. I can't wait to see the Giants. No, but 1 week at a time. We fuck the Giants. We're not going to talk about the Giants right now. We'll see them motherfuckers when we see them motherfuckers. We'll see them next week. Also, I should be getting my guy Justin Pugh on the channel next week sometime. We're working the date out right now. That's going to be a fun one. JD5 is going to hit his head on the goalpost at least once. Bring on them blitzes. Hey, bring on the blitzes. Our quarterback needs it. We want the smoke. He needs the looks. And when you come at the king, you best not miss. When you come at a quarterback that got wheels, like Jaden Daniels, if you come with it and you miss, you're going to pay for it. And you're going to pay fatally because them wheels our quarterback has on him can go 70, 80, 60, 50, 40 yards to the end zone, scamper easily in his sleep. And the thing is, he don't have to because he could do it with his arms and with his head. He's a smart quarterback, and he's not turnover prone. He's never shown a tendency to turn the ball over. Oh, I'm so excited about Jalen. I could talk about Jaden Daniels all day. We can make every conversation go on an off-topic tangent and start talking about Jaden Daniels again because I love this guy. I love this kid. I'm so excited to see him play. NFC West. Let's talk about it. The 49ers are going to barely win this division. They're going to win it, though. They're going to win this division. The Rams are going to be right on their ass. And the Seahawks are going to be right on their ass. This is a competitive-ass division. And the Cardinals, they fight. The Cardinals showed so much fight for Jonathan Gannon last year. Even when Kyler was out and they were playing Dobbs and they were playing, fuck was the quarterback? Tanner McKee? I don't think, one of them Tanner McKee type nigga. I forgot who the other quarterback was. They had a litany of ass out there for more than half the season, and they got the Dallas Cowboys on the ropes, beat them. They were the ones who helped clinch us the number 2 overall seed. So for the Arizona Cardinals, we are forever grateful. And I cannot wait to go up to the desert, a place we normally struggled through most of my life as a fan, but I cannot wait for Cliff Kingsbury Revenge Week in Arizona. I'm glad my boy Alex brought that up on our group chat pod earlier, but I'm going to stack this division up. San Fran up top, barely over the Los Angeles Rams in second place, barely over the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks will be one of those main culprits also fighting for the 6th and the 7th playoff seed. And I don't think the Cardinals are going to be terrible, but I don't think they're going to be great. I think you're looking at a ceiling of 7 wins for the Cardinals, probably 6-win team this year. But Kyler Murray is going to give folks headaches because that boy he got on the outside, Maserati Marvin Harrison Jr., is a fucking problem. He is a problem. And when we got to run the fade with the Arizona Cardinals in week 4, be ready. Our corners better be ready because everything I'm hearing out of Arizona is that they are treating this kid like he's a veteran wide receiver 1. Like his target share is going to be like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase's in year 1. So don't be surprised if you see Puka Nacua or Jamar Chase type rookie numbers for Marvin Harrison Jr. His father is a Hall of Famer. He got that killer in his blood, literally. He got murder in his DNA, bruh. Marvin Harrison Jr. So his game is so smooth, man. His game is so smooth. It's so beautiful. He's such a route running technician, such a combination of size, speed, and elegance at the wide receiver position. Marvin is going to be one of them ones. That's why he didn't need to do a pro day. He didn't need to go through the whole draft process. They said Kyler need to lock back in. I know. Get off the streams and get on the field, Kyler. But I like Kyler Murray. Kyler is a good quarterback. He got his contract for a reason. The line says on a neutral field, this game is a pick 'em. It is. I think Washington Tampa is a pick 'em. There's a reason why we're only 3-point dogs coming off a 4-win season, and these Bamas was almost in the NFC Championship game last year. It's a pick 'em because they're not that good. They're not that good. Litany of ass. You know, I'm king of the one-liners over here. I'm gonna give y'all a one-liner or two. I'm always gonna give y'all a one-liner or two. But that's how I see the NFC West stacking out. Excited to see it, though. Definitely excited to see all the divisions. Man, I love when NFL football is back. Let me fix this camera a little bit because I just realized that y'all couldn't even see what I'm talking about. I'm wilding. I got a whole new setup going on in here right now. I hope the sound is clear. I hope the picture's clear. No more of this faceless video shit. We're going up in 2024 on this channel. I'm trying to get it looking better, sounding better, and I want people to be tired of my face and my voice this season because you see it so much on your YouTube algorithm. That's the plan, and I'm sticking to it. Let's move on to the next division since we're picking divisions right now. NFC East, if you've seen me on the NFC East Roundtable on my channel or on the Roundtable Sports Network. Shout out to the Roundtable Sports Network. The check did come in today. The direct deposit cleared. Love them. You love to see that on a Wednesday, September afternoon. NFC East, I got the Eagles finishing in first at 12-5. I got the Cowboys finishing second with 11-6. I got Washington finishing third, 8-9. And I got the New York Giants finishing 6-11. I don't got any 5 wins or less teams because I don't think nobody in the division is that bad. I think us and the Giants, we're battling to see who that next team is, unless one of the Cowboys and the Eagles could possibly flame out. But on first glance, I got Philly winning the division off. Nobody repeats in the East. So I don't got the Cowboys winning it again. Philly got the best roster. They got added Saquon. They added more talent to that team. They added Jahan Dotson. They added Saquon Barkley. They added edge rusher from the Jets. What is his name? Huff. They added some pieces, and they had a good draft. They added Quinn Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. There's no excuse for that fucking team. So it's going to feel very satisfying when the Eagles season ends earlier than anticipated, when they flame out again. You know, when they started, 10-0 last year, then went to 10-1, and then finished the season 1-6, and then they go get beat 32-9 by Baker and the Buccaneers in the playoffs, and it's like, oh my God, what happened? And they somehow get a pass for it. Why do they get a pass for it? Where's the slander? The Eagles don't get enough slander. That team is already ready-made. That team is ready to go. That team is ready to go already. That team is ready to win right now. There is no excuses for them. People need to be, and that, like, I don't see why not. Oh shit, my camera went off. Damn, I just literally said that I was talking about my camera, and now I done knocked my damn camera out. Give me 1 second. What are we doing? Come back. Hold up. Give me 1 second. We having technical difficulties. I'm over here fucking with my cords, and I knocked my damn camera out. How's my sound? Is my sound back on? This shit is tripping over here. Are we good? Are we good? We having technical difficulties over here. We having technical difficulties like a motherfucker over here right now. Hold on now. What are we doing? Give me 1 second. What the fuck did I just do? I just knocked all my shit out of whack over here. But let's keep talking about these divisional winners. I'm working on the camera while we're doing so. That's the NFC East. That's how I feel about the NFC. Let's talk about the AFC, where all the fucking elite quarterbacks that exist in this league. It's going to be a very interesting division in 2024. That's wild that I literally just said like 2 minutes ago, yeah, it's going to be no more of that no camera shit. And then I knocked my fucking camera cord out and all of a sudden we're having technical difficulties. It'd be like that sometime, but what the fuck are we doing? Hold up. Come on, camera. Come back. Come back now. Come on. Hold up. Whatever. We about to just roll with the green screen right now. For whatever reason, my virtual background has decided is not going to work for the remainder of this stream, but we got more picks to make and we got shit to talk about. So we just going to keep it pushing. The AFC East, the most interesting division in football, or one of them in 2024. The Bills, Dolphins, and Jets are all title contenders on paper. Will they end the season that? Not sure. But who knows? I think the winner of this division, this is tough. I think I'm going to go with the New York Jets. That probably sounds crazy. Nope, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills. I lied. I'm not going with the Jets. I think the Jets are going to be close. I think 3 teams in this division are going to the playoffs, though. I got the Bills, Dolphins, and Jets all going to the playoffs out of this division, but I don't know if I can yet predict that the New York Jets are going to win a division. They are easily a playoff. They're one of the easiest playoff teams to predict when you factor in they haven't had a quarterback and they're still getting shit done. They still look good. They're still getting to like 7-8 wins without a quarterback. But Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas, they have to start showing some production right now, or they're playing with their jobs. This is the not for long league. They got to show some production this year. They got to show some production this year, or they are gonzo. They are gonzo. They have to. They have no choice. So I don't know if I could pick the Jets to win this division, but I think I can pick the Jets to win a playoff game. I can definitely do it. I could definitely get them to get to the playoffs this year. Once they get to the playoffs, it's anyone's game. It's who can beat Mahomes. Is it going to be Rodgers? Is Lamar going to finally take that step? Josh Allen? Is Tua and the Miami Dolphins going to be in that conversation? It's a very interesting conversation because that division's like that. That division is must-see TV in 2024. I'm excited to see that division, how it shapes out. I'm excited to see Rodgers again because say what you want about who he is as a person. Aaron Rodgers is one of the 4 best quarterbacks to ever play football, and I cannot wait to see him play with G5. Garrett Wilson, and to see what that combination looks like in 2024, because I think they're going to be deadly. I think they're going to be absolutely deadly. I had a guy in my fantasy football league. I wouldn't have done this, but I had a guy in my fantasy football league take Garrett Wilson with the second pick of the fantasy draft. Not Breece Hall. Garrett Wilson with the second pick of our fantasy draft this year. That's a little crazy, but there are a lot of expectations for this guy. He's given him back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. He won Rookie of the Year his rookie year, and he was playing with a hot pack of ass at quarterback. Zach Wilson stunk. Zach Wilson stunk that joint up for his entire career there. An absolute flaming hot bust. A bust of all busts there. Who should be the captains for the season? Well, according to Dan Quinn, nobody, because they're not doing captains. But if I had to pick, my offensive captains would be Sam Cosmi, Jaden Daniels, and Terry McLaurin. My defensive captains would be Bobby Wagner, Jonathan Allen, and Mikey Sand. No, I can't. Bobby Wagner, Jonathan Allen would be my defensive captains, and Jeremy Reeves, you could count him as the special teams captain, though, and Tress Way. Those would be my captains. So Tress Way, Jeremy Reeves, Jonathan Allen, Bobby Wagner, Jaden Daniels, Zach Ertz, and Terry McLaurin. Those would be my captains on this football team. But according to Dan Quinn, captain is a fluid situation, and it's going to be a week-to-week thing, and it changes with the play. I don't know what this captain process that he's doing is. He said something along the lines of no one's going to wear a C on their chest. I don't know. Sounds like some military grade shit. I don't really know what that means, but I'm here for it. Fuck it. We'll see how it works. Those would be my captains for this team, though. Louisville would be in discussion for. I don't want to give two linebackers the patch, though, and Bobby Wagner is gold jacket, so I got to give him the priority. So AFC East, Patriots obviously last place. I hope they rip the Band-Aid off and just start playing the kid at some point, because we know what the fuck Jacoby mid-ass Brissett is. So I got Bills at first in the division. I got the Jets and the Dolphins finishing with around the same record. So put the Dolphins second, the Jets third. I got all three of them making the playoff. Moving on to the next division in the AFC, I think the Raiders stink because their quarterback situation, and they have all eyes set on Carson Beck and Shedeur Sanders because they were throwing ass all offseason for Jaden Daniels. They was throwing ass in the club at Jaden Daniels all offseason, and the conversation around Jaden Daniels when, I'm sorry, y'all won more games than allows you to. And it's going to probably happen again because Gardner Minshew doesn't stink. He's a bottom of the barrel. He's a bottom of the league quarterback, but he doesn't suck. He's just good enough to unnecessarily win you 6, 7, 8 games. So Raiders, if you really want to get one of those premier quarterbacks without having to trade your entire soul to do so, you might want to start playing Aiden O'Connell in 2024. You are last place in this division easily. I got the Chargers finishing second in the division. I think the Broncos are going to be very close to the Chargers because I think Bo Nix is going to be a Rookie of the Year candidate. I think Bo Nix went to the one place in the league where he was assured to be a long-time starter. He paired up with Sean Payton. I think that's a good pair. I think he's going to be his poor man's Goodwill Drew Brees, and he's going to be the ultimate point guard of that offense, and he's going to have so much more fun coaching Bo Nix than he did coaching rinsed Russell Wilson. But that's what I got in this division. I got the Chiefs at the top. Ain't nobody fucking with the Chiefs in this division. I'm interested in seeing how good the Chargers are with Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh wins and turns teams around everywhere he goes. He did it in San Fran. They didn't win the Super Bowl, but they were damn close. And he did it at Michigan. I'm excited to see what he does with an NFL team again, and with the NFL, a quarterback talent like Justin Herbert in Los Angeles. Oh, my bad. I lied when I said most interesting division. This division is the most interesting division in the NFL because all four of these teams could qualify for the playoff. The Ravens are a Super Bowl contender. The Bengals are a Super Bowl contender. The Browns, if Deshaun Watson can turn back the clock that was massage oiled out of his system and turn into the guy he was pre-Predator accusations, Cleveland could go ahead and make some shit shake because they have the best defense in the NFL, possibly. They're talented on offense. They added Jerry Jeudy to the offense. Jerome Ford is a really good running back who's going to take the load share away from Nick Chubb while he's still away on injury. That's a good-ass football team. They're well coached by Kevin Stefanski and them. That's a great football team. If Deshaun Watson can learn how to play quarterback again, they are a fucking nightmare for teams. They are a nightmare, but last year they had to play their playoff game with Joe Flacco because Watson got hurt. Watson's either been ass or injured since his first couple years in the league and since he's got moved on from. If Watson can turn back the clock, they could do some things there in Cleveland. This division, I don't even know how to call it, but I'm going to call it. Give me the Ravens, number 1. Give me the Bengals. Give me the Bengals, number 2, because it's Joe Burrow. Easy. I think the Bengals go the farthest of all these 3 teams, though. I think the Bengals is the team that loses to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. But I also got the Steelers at like 9 wins. So I think 9 is going to be the last place team in this division. We're looking at a division with like 13 or 14 wins up top, 11 or 12 in second place, 10 or 11 in third place, and 9 in fourth place. What a fucking division. They could possibly get all 4 teams in the playoff. And to close out our divisional picks for 2024, the AFC South, the Texans, the Colts, the Jags, the Titans. The Texans win this division. They clear it easily. The Jags are their only real competition unless Anthony Richardson comes out absolutely smoking, because the Colts were 1 game back of the Texans last year with Gardner Minshew playing a quarterback. Anthony Richardson gives them the element of a quarterback run design, and he has that Shane Steichen offense that had Jalen Hurts looking like an MVP candidate a couple years ago. They added more weapons. They added A.D. Mitchell to that wide receiver room of Michael Pittman and Josh Downs. They got hella talent in Indianapolis right now, but I got the Texans winning the division, though. I got the Texans winning the division. I got the Jags in second place because Trevor Lawrence, Tarzan, sunshine looking ass, it's time that he paid the piper. You got a big contract, and since you've got to the league, you haven't taken the NFL step that most people projected you to take at this point. So it's a big, very important year for Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. The Jags need to squeak their way into the playoff. They're not going to win this division because CJ Stroud and Houston, they got that shit on lock, but the Jags need to be in prime wild card territory, or it could get real shaky for them down, and for Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence down in Jacksonville. The Colts in third. The Titans added a lot this year. I'm just unsure of what Will Levis is. Will Levis is the most not spoken about second-year quarterback in the history of second-year quarterback. I don't hear people talk about the Titans. It almost feels like there's like an embargo that needs to be lifted to talk about them, because I have not seen them talking about one time. What does that mean? What does that mean? Someone explain to me what the fuck that means, because it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. I don't like, nobody's talking about them. They added a bunch of players. They added Calvin Ridley to that offense. They shipped Malik Willis out of town. He turned out to be a bust. Big wrong about Malik Willis, but the Titans are just a team that nobody fucking talks about ever. Didn't Levis play? Well, yeah, he played all right. He played fine. He wasn't bad. He didn't look bad at all. He didn't light it up, but he didn't look bad at all. Sunshine, sunshine. I can't make that pitch, Coach Herman. You had 17 brothers and sisters. I can't make that pitch, Coach Herman. You had 17 brothers and sisters. Herman said, no, 13 OCL sounds better. Oh, man. But that's how I got the division stacking up. I got the Chiefs over the Rams in the Super Bowl. I got Washington finishing at 8-9. I got Caleb edging out Jaden for Rookie of the Year, but Jaden is a close second. I got the most improved player, Bryce Young. I got Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt, because that motherfucker is just nasty. He wakes out of bed, eats breakfast, 20 sacks. It's easy work for him. And coach of the year, Raheem Morris down in Atlanta. That's what I got for 2024. NFL season opens up tomorrow. I wanted to end this stream exactly at 2 hours. We're going to end the stream right now at the 2-hour mark. That is all I got for tonight. Thank you for stopping by. On your way out, if you did not click that thumbs up or like button yet, make sure you click that like button. Going live for the whole Chiefs-Ravens game tomorrow. Come pull up on the channel and watch the game with your boy. If anything comes out about the team tomorrow on an injury report update or anything like that, come holla at me. Hell yeah, great line. And remember, I love Remember the Titans. One of my favorite movies. It's one of those movies where you see it on the guide and you never go past it, but I'm going to call it a stream. I'm going to call it a night. Go get me some food and some rest in my system. I will catch y'all bright and early tomorrow with some type of update and live for the Chiefs-Ravens game. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. And on the way out, here's a word from our sponsors and 757 legend Michael Vick.
Michael Vick here at BetUS.com. Get it all. Huge bonuses, great odds, a race book, live in-game betting, and a casino. BetUS, my online sports book and casino.